Faceless waited in the alleyway across the street from where Strat called home. Two men lingered there as well, paid brutes with one purpose: to beat the boy until he broke. Both were unbound, the kind no one would mourn save for a stray family member or two. The Enforcement Coalition had no pity for such souls. Those who refused to pay the required donations to work in Amganis forfeited the right to protection. Worse, they became prey. The Coalition and its affiliates hunted unbound openly, and no retribution was ever allowed against those who killed them. Faceless wasn't alone. By law, he was accompanied by Brithon and Clint, Mamini, assassins cursed with perfect memory. Every word spoken, every detail seen, they would recall verbatim until the day they died. Useful, yes. Dangerous, certainly. Were either captured, the Coalition's enemies would prize their knowledge above gold. For this reason, the Mamini were kept away from headquarters, where the building's death trap design could be exploited if revealed. Faceless endured their company. Even he, leader of the Coalition, was bound by its rules. Structure was what kept them from sliding back into the chaos of banditry that had once plagued Lysandris. Under the late Two-Tooth's leadership, they had transformed from scattered marauders into a force to rival kings. And kings had bled for it. King Kolbhart himself had once thrown his armies at them. For every fallen enforcer, 20 soldiers lay dead. The cost forced the monarch's hand. Citizens whispered of rebellion, and Kolbhart chose to bargain rather than bleed his realm dry. A pact was struck. The Coalition would ply its trades, but only under sanctioned contracts. No more rampant murder, no more roadside slaughter. 12 years had passed since that uneasy truce. Whispers now spread of Kolbhart's madness, his hatred of the pact eating him alive. War hovered on the horizon once more, promising chaos, famine, and banditry, the very scourges the kingdom could not endure. Yet tonight, in a quiet alley of Amganis, none of that mattered. Tonight was about a boy. Strat had survived the streets for 3 years, longer than most children in seedy acres. Abandoned, starving, hunted, he had defied every grim expectation. Now 10 years old, the boy was about to learn the same lesson Faceless had been forced to learn. Adults could never be trusted. Pain would teach him, brutality would break him, and when Faceless stepped in to save him, Strat would bind himself to the man forever. Someday the boy would become the greatest thief Lysandris had ever known, but first he would bleed. "I see no reason this must take place," Clint said softly. "The boy could serve without this beating." Clint had always balked at harming children. He had refused contracts on them before. Faceless tolerated this flaw only because of the man's perfect memory. Without that gift, his body would already be feeding the harbor crabs. "This will happen," Faceless answered, flat as stone. "He must endure tonight. It is necessary." "There is nothing to be gained by attacking a child," Clint pressed. "Enough!" Brithon snapped. "We are here to observe, nothing more." "I don't have to like it." "You do have to obey." Faceless let their bickering stretch, then intervened. "Clint is not weak, Brithon. He simply speaks from conviction. Shall we silence all voices of dissent, kill all who disagree with us? Shall we become like Kolbhart himself?" Brithon swallowed, chastened. Faceless continued, blade glinting faintly in his hand. "Should I discard Clint because he refuses to kill children? Shall I throw away his gift? No, that would be waste." Tension coiled between the 3 assassins like a drawn bowstring. Words skirted violence. Only Faceless's authority kept blood from being spilled in the alley before the real work began. "Strat approaches," Faceless murmured. Clint frowned. "I hear nothing." "Nor I," Brithon added. But Faceless heard him, light footfalls, the careless sound of a child lost in the distraction of food. Strat rounded the corner, clutching a stolen Gillip apple. He bumped into one of the hired thugs and muttered an apology. A moment later, the second man had seized him and flung him down at his companion's feet. The boy struggled, palms scraped raw from a futile escape under the fence. His tiny hands bled, but Faceless dismissed it. Healing could mend them later. He would need those hands. Then the beating began. A kick burst the apple in his pocket. Blows rained down, bruising, cracking. Strat sobbed, harsh, desperate cries that tore at the night air. His pain echoed off the stone walls, the sound of innocence crushed beneath cruelty. Faceless watched with icy detachment. 3 years of planning narrowed to this moment. Strat's suffering was an investment in the Coalition's future. Someday he would lead them. Someday he would spread their reach across every city in Lysandras, but not before he wept into the dirt like Faceless once had. "How long must this continue?" Clint whispered, voice taut with anguish. "Until I decide," Faceless answered coldly. "Do as you were brought here to do." "He's coughing blood. A broken rib, punctured lung, he'll die soon." "Then he will die if that is his fate," Brithon growled. Faceless ignored them. Strat needed to come to the brink, gasping for his life, before Faceless could intervene. Only then would the boy understand what it meant to be saved. Only then would loyalty be forged. Blood spattered the ground. Strat's cries grew weaker. "The boy is expiring," Clint whispered again. "We wait," Faceless hissed, a voice a venomous whisper. "He must beg for life."